Hey everybody, welcome to the Life Academy monthly podcast where Erica and I each month, we're going to talk about the questions you guys have submitted from during the month. We're going to address topics that you've suggested, and it's going to be a bit unscripted. It's going to be maybe a tiny bit raw, but we're doing this for you. So each month, don't hesitate. Send us your questions, send us your comments, and we'll try to talk about them in these podcasts.
So this month, we are talking all about stress. And you had the first 2 weeks that you were teaching, and I think you brought up some really good points.
It's because I deal with a lot of stress, like everybody else.
Right. So here's what I want to ask you. A lot of the interaction that we had with people is people were feeling really guilty about taking a break. Taking a break was one of the things you told us to do.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was sort of surprised because I've never really felt guilty when I take a break. So as people shared that, and multiple people did, either in private emails or commenting at the portal, I was a little bit surprised, but then so many people said it, I wasn't surprised anymore. Apparently that's a real thing, to feel guilty if you're taking a break.
Yeah, well, not to be, sexist or anything, but most of the people that said that were women. And I think that's something as a woman, it's really common. And even if you're a little older in age where your kids are grown up, when you have little kids and, so much to do around the house, rest isn't really something that you get that often. So that when you do
take a break, ladies, all the guys know you work super hard all the time. We have no problem with you taking a break. Someone's misleading you. Take some breaks. Good grief. Don't feel guilty.
Okay, so...
And actually God says it. Like that was the whole point of the teaching, right? Like God says take a break. It's sad that we've subverted God's teaching when he is so good to us and so kind to us and does what's best for us. And then somehow in the world we twist that. And we turn into this thing where you got to feel guilty if you take a break. That's terrible. That's not what God wants at all. So
if you do have time to take a break, what do you do?
For me?
Yeah.
It sounds stupid because I'm old, but video games are great for me. It just if you play video games, it just kind of sucks you in. You can't really think about anything else. So that's great. It's a mental break from the rest of life. That's really good. Netflix binging, like lots and lots of people. That's good too. Reading a book, I don't do it as much as I used to, but like a novel, not like a book to learn something, but a novel is a good one for me as well. Those are good, like at home kind of break stuff.
Yeah, and I think even...
Wait, what about you?
Well, I was going to say even teaching this stuff in Life Academy and hearing you teach is just a super good reminder for me, and I'm sure it is for you too, to think do I really take a break?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to teach something and not do it. I mean, I gave sermons for 20 years, so you have to live what you preach, right? And it's the same with this. So talking about stress and talking about taking a break, it was a good sort of forced reminder for me. It's like, hey, wait a minute, buddy, you're not really doing it. You better get your act together, or you're going to be stressed out too.
Yeah, and for me, I can't really relax if the house is a mess or like I have a pile of laundry to do. That's harder for me. So taking a break is a lot more enjoyable for me when I'm caught up on everything else. And that could be a reason why for a lot of us there's guilt involved.
Yeah, because your to-do list is hanging out there and you can't quite separate from it like that.
Yeah. So it's a little bit harder. But okay, so there's another thing that you said that I think maybe I want a little clarification on. So you said,
wait. So just hold up a second. So before I don't know what's coming, but we gotta just again say that, don't feel guilty relaxing. If you want to hang out and read a book or take a nap or whatever it is for you that's good, God is for that. You should do it. It's good for you. God's the one who said it's good for you. If anyone's telling you it's bad for you, they're not coming from a biblical standpoint. So that'd be a great thing for anyone listening today. That'd be a great thing if you could just enjoy getting a break without feeling guilty. That'd be a super positive life addition.
Okay, how about this?
All right.
So part about being in Life Academy and becoming a tribe is I think we need to have some accountability with each other. And that's Mike and I included, I think. So what if every week we make it a habit of posting one thing we do to take a break?
Great. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Ask any questions. I love tough questions. So what did you do to take a break? Are you living what you preach? Go ahead and ask. I love it.
Sort of like when you're in Weight Watchers or something, you got to get weighed in every week. This is like, we have to take a break. We have to say what we're doing. Could be like a good thing.
Okay, cool.
Maybe I just need it for myself, but
I'll start asking you.
Okay, do that. Okay, so another thing you talked about, and this I think was in week 2, if I remember correctly. You said, don't neglect blessings to search for more blessings.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little more? It was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, a number of people mentioned that to me. I've taught about this a little bit in the past. we have things in our life that are good. I'll call those blessings, okay? Maybe it's family. Maybe it's a favorite hobby, or all sorts of things. Anything you'd list out as good in your life. Sometimes we look away from those good things to get more good things. We have this consumer mentality. Everyone wants more all the time. And we're trained from birth to always want more. And you see it in like little kids. They just want more all the time. You got to teach them that they can't get everything and stuff. But with everyone growing up in that now everywhere, I think we always want more. Nothing's ever quite enough. And it's sad because it makes you unhappy. So the first thing is to step back and look at like what are the good things in my life? And I'll call them blessings. What are my blessings? Take care of those first before you try to get more blessings. Oftentimes what I see in people is they have a lot of good stuff. They're not satisfied. They want more good stuff. And then they're not even loving the good stuff they already had. It's like not enough anymore.
And you're talking about like material stuff and also people, like actual relationship stuff.
Yeah, everyone's got their own list. You know, if you have a few good friends, you're really blessed. I can't tell you over the years. I mean, most people I meet with express some form of loneliness and not having enough friends. So if you have friends, enjoy your friends. Don't neglect your friends to go do this other thing or whatever it is. If you're sitting with your friend, don't sit there on your phone while you're with your friend. You're lucky to have a friend. Enjoy the coffee or the pizza or the game or whatever it is you're doing together. Forget everything else. Just bask in the happiness of having a great friend. Don't look away from that to look for more. And it's the same with a job or money. I mean, most of us are pretty well off. We have a nice place to live. We have plenty of food. We have a car to drive in. And I know you can always want more. I'm guilty of wanting more sometimes too. But first start by appreciating what you have and owning it and loving it. And then as you get more, that's fine. But what I notice so much is people don't enjoy what they have. They're only happy with more, except more is an empty promise. Once you get it, that's not enough either. And the next thing's not enough. There's never enough.
Yeah.
And you end up unhappy or stressed out. So it starts with having some gratitude for what you have and taking care of what you have. And then once you're doing that and say, God, this is amazing. I have a friend. I love this friend. We hang out every Friday. It's amazing. Then maybe you can have another friend or another hobby or whatever it is. But first, enjoy what you have. Take care of that first.
Well, and I think this kind of ties into my lesson in that to be present, like come into your present moment. And I think especially having a teenager, and even if you think about your marriage or the relationships in your life that mean the most to you, I would guess that so often when you're together with your spouse or these teenagers are together with their friends, or like we see in a restaurant, everyone's sitting around the table and you're searching for something else that when you have something really good in front of you, most of the time on a phone.
Exactly. You know? I have something really good in front of me, a friend or a family member, and I'm looking at ESPN to see what's the latest story about the Bucks. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not the right time to do it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the company that you're with. I think that's our issue.
Yeah, and I think it really is just appreciating what is right in front of you. And I think a lot of times our stress comes because we don't do that enough.
Yeah.
Because we're so thinking about what's coming in the future and getting more and doing more and being more, when we just aren't appreciating the here and now. And we can look around and have gratitude and be thankful and all these things. And I think another thing about that.
And the temptation for more is right from the beginning. If you go back into the Bible, Old Testament, Jesus, people were tempted by the same things. And you got to defeat that or you're never going to be happy. And it is about your own happiness. So whatever it is that's special to you, enjoy it, bask in it, love it. And that's where we're missing out on too often. Well, myself included.
Right. And if we're going to look at Jesus as our example, he never did anything selfishly. His whole life was not trying to get more, but trying to do more. And that brings me into something that Larry said.
I know. Yeah, I know what you're going to bring up.
Larry's if you guys haven't met Larry in this academy, I hope you get to know him because he is wise and he is so faithful. And he posted a comment, I think it's in lesson 2, actually. If you haven't read it, go back and read it. But he posted this comment and it more was like, you become less stressful when you serve, when you do things for other people, when you don't think so much about yourself like Jesus did. Yeah,
that's next level though. Like you do need to think about yourself to start out with, right? Like being healthy and having gratitude and taking a break and having some fun and laughing and all those things I suggested. you could see that as a bit selfish, but you do have to take care of yourself or you're not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So you need your breaks, you need to have fun, you need to laugh, all that stuff, which then makes you better for others too once you're better for yourself. And at that point, Larry's suggestion was to serve others, and then you really feel good. You feel good about life, about them, about yourself, and that's true. That's next level. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get there in that lesson, but he was 100% correct.
Right.
As you're feeling better about yourself, consider serving someone else in some way, whatever way works for you. And again, you will feel better. You'll feel better about your own life by serving others. God just made it that way. I don't know why it's that way, but it's true. Whenever you talk to someone who's really serving other people, shoveling for a neighbor, whatever it might be, helping someone else out, you end up feeling good inside. We're just wired for that.
Yeah.
So take a step out and try it.
Okay, so what is something that you didn't tell us about stress in your lessons? Something that maybe just didn't fit, or something going on in your life right now that you think we could really learn from?
Well, there's a ton of stuff that didn't fit, right? Like I end up teaching twice on stress lessons in the academy here, and maybe there's a total of 25 minutes of total teaching. People write whole books and courses and all this stuff just about stress. So there was a lot of stuff that we weren't able to cover. That's really good stuff, and we'll get to it someday probably. So that's just there. For myself, I'm not really afraid to reveal anything. I'm just kind of a transparent person. So I wasn't trying to keep anything secret, but for me, this is maybe the most stressful time of my life right now. So it was good because, again, you got to practice what you preach. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of stressed out and you're like, okay, I'm teaching about stress. Well, I better do what I'm actually teaching. But it's been a super stressful time. Career change, starting a new ministry is super stressful. It's just tough. You go from something you've loved for a long, long time to something brand new that you're just trying to figure out. It is just stressful. That's reality. Mm-hmm. And that's what I taught about sometimes. Like there are stressful things that are reality in your life. You can't ignore them, but you have to do the right things to deal with them.
Yeah, and it's funny how when you talked before in people's quest for more, in a way, starting this ministry was our quest to do more for other people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But in a different way, I think.
Yeah.
But because of that, it has created stress and pressure and things like that. So do you think a lot of stress is self-induced?
Most of our stress is self-induced through our own choices in life. And we do things, we set up things that end up stressing us out. There's just more options now. I don't remember if I touched on it, but in the lessons, but I spend, I don't know how much time every week on YouTube now. Pretty much, 5 hours a week or whatever, looking at videos, or some are educational, some are silly, looking at dogs doing dumb stuff or whatever it is.
Do you really look at dogs doing dumb stuff?
Once in a while, like a window will pop up and it's like, what? And you just got to click on it.
Okay, if that happens again, can you share that with us, please?
There's a lot of silly stuff that's just kind of fun, but in a way that can stress you out because the 5 hours a week came from somewhere. You can't just keep jamming more in. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all just trying to jam more in. How much time does someone spend on their phone these days versus 20 years ago? Well, they didn't invent more time. It came from something. And now you're stressed, like you said, like you're trying to relax, but you have this to-do list. And you can't really relax because of the to-do list, right? I think we all deal with the same things. So we put more stuff in, and they're all good, but for every good thing that goes in, some other thing that you'd previously thought was good has to go to be replaced by something better.
Yeah.
Just not by something more because you run out of time and energy, but by something better.
Yeah, I had a really beautiful moment with my son Edison yesterday. He's 7, and he's like, Mom, can you go outside and play football with me? And I had work to do. I just did. And I just felt this nudge, like it was nice out. I'll go outside, toss the football. And we were tossing the football around. And I was ready to come in. And I said to him, like, you can just do this to yourself. Throw it in the air and whatever. And he's like, did you play with yourself when you were a kid? Like on your own? I'm like, you have no idea. And I started thinking about all the things I did on my own and my imagination and my creativity. And I think now, even as adults, because we have our phones and we have so many distractions, we don't allow ourselves that space to just like be creative and take the break and rest. And also ties into my lesson where the best thing for me to defeat my stress is to be quiet and to spend time with God without distractions.
Yeah.
So that was just like a really sweet reminder of, playing in the yard turned into like, wow, yeah, I have to find more space to do things like that.
Yeah, it's funny as you say that because I'm basically the opposite. For a good portion of my life, Friday was my day off. and the kids would be in school, my wife would be at work, I'd have the house to myself, and I'd be pretty excited about it all week. Like, oh, Friday I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna read a book. I'm gonna play a video game or whatever it was. I'd have this stuff, and a lot of times I get crabby by the end of the day, and that's sort of embarrassing to admit. Like, you had a whole free day. How did you get crabby? But having too much of that isn't the best for me. Where like you said, quiet time or time to yourself is good for me. Too much quiet time for me actually, for some weird reason, ends up making me crabby. And they'd get home at the end of the day, and sadly, I'd have to admit, like maybe a lot of people, I often give my worst to my family accidentally. You can't be crabby with your coworker. They don't want to work with you anymore or whatever. Your family puts up with a lot. So a lot of times you accidentally sort of give them your worst, which is a giant mistake. Right. So my kids would come home after school on a Friday, and I'd be sort of crabby from sitting around the house all day. And then I'd be mad at myself, like, no, I'm not treating my kids great. I just had this day off. And I had to kind of strategize that out. Even though it seemed in my imagination like really good just to relax for a whole day, just sitting around reading, watching TV, playing video games for a whole day wasn't good for me. A few hours was. Yeah. But then after that, I had to get outside and do something or go somewhere. And that was what turned out to make a relaxing day for me.
Yeah. Well, I think you just made a good point of like, we just always have to continue to think about how we are and how we can be better. So what would you say to the person that would say, well, just pray more? Just pray your stress away. I've heard that before. Do you think that actually works?
Yeah, I think I believe in God as well as anybody. I really do believe in God and think God's amazing, and I just really do. And I really believe in the power of prayer as well. We should talk to God. And for me, I just talk to God. Like, I don't have any real special way. We just talk. And it's good. However, you can't just assume that you had a little talk with God and now he's going to magically make all your problems go away. It just has never worked that way for me or anyone else that I'm close to. Mm-hmm. He provides you guidance. He can make you feel better in the moment. He can give you peace, comfort, all those good things. But that you also have to make good decisions for yourself. You can't keep doing things that turn out to make you unhappy or cause you stress and then say, God, please fix it, please fix it, please fix it. He sees himself as a loving parent. And loving parents don't just fix all their kids' problems. They bring their kids up and they teach their kids how to make good decisions and do things that are healthy for them and avoid things that are unhealthy for them. That's what parents do. That's how God treats us. So you should talk to him about your stuff, but then you also have to follow his advice, either in prayer when you're talking to him or that he provides in the Bible, and then do it. Mm-hmm. That's how he's trying to help you.
Yeah, and I think be realistic. If your schedule is so busy and every week you're carrying things into the next week of your to-do list, that's not anything God can take care of, but that's something you have to take care of and deal with and look at it differently.
Yeah, well, just think about how you advise your kid. If your child came to you and we're all stressed out about all their things and they had so much stuff going on, your first thing you'd say is, well, you got to give something up. Yeah. You can't live like that. You can't do all your school studying and all your other hobbies and sports or whatever it may be, all your different things. You're going to be stressed out. There's not enough time. As a parent, you would share that with them, and that's what God shares with us. I think he just wants us to make healthy decisions for ourselves. And each person's are different. There's not a template. There's not a formula for how to live exactly right. God provides guidance for us, but within his guidance, there's so much freedom. And you have to figure out how to use your freedom to bring about your best life.
Yeah, and what's a stress reliever for you?
Yeah.
Probably isn't. Playing video games probably isn't a stress reliever for me.
Exactly. Or some people hanging out with friends energizes them. Some people hanging out with friends depletes them, right?
Yeah.
Just depends on how you are. And that's okay. But find your way, and God's okay with your way.
Yeah, that's just the beauty of us just all being so different.
Yeah.
And I love, too, how God just works in us differently, and his word comes across differently, and for us in all different ways. So,
yeah.
Okay, so do you think it's possible to be stress-free?
I think so. I mean, 100% stress-free, maybe not, because stuff does just enter your life that causes stress, right? Things happen, illnesses, whatever, and they will cause some stress, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Not all stress is even bad. So I don't know that you can be 100% stress-free, but you can be 100% better at how you deal with stress. Yeah. Right? Quit causing yourself stress. That's number one. You'll eliminate a whole bunch of stress just by making better choices. You can get way better at that. And then the other stuff that comes in that you can't control, you can have your own strategies for not letting that stuff totally whack you out.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that you guys should know about Mike and I is that we're super different in that I am more of like a mindset shift kind of person, and Mike is more of a just do something differently kind of person. And I think there's a balance between both of those things that we're discovering even as we're preparing lessons and starting all this new stuff with this new ministry and stuff. But I really live by, you change your thoughts and you change your world. So if we can change our thoughts about stress, and not only how we think about it, but how we deal with it, and all of the things that go along with it, it is really the first step in changing it for us.
And I love that for you. Change your thoughts and you change your world. I absolutely understand that. I completely respect that. And there's millions of people out there that can benefit from that. And I support it. And I need to get a little better at that myself, actually. But I almost come at it, like you said, the opposite way. Change your world and your thoughts will be better. Right?
Right.
And which is healthy too. But you need a mix of both. You can't be all in one basket and not in the other at all. So it's great to have friends that are different than you, because you should learn from each other and you should talk about things and grow. You never stop growing.
Right. Well, I don't know of you guys, but I have really enjoyed this first month. Even just the interaction that we've had with each other through the lessons and all of the things. And I really look forward to what the future is going to hold in this academy. And I encourage all of you to participate and ask questions. Ask us some really hard stuff because we like that kind of thing.
Yes, I love the questions. Never hesitate to ask anything. And you should be looking forward to next month. This month is from stressed to blessed. Next month is going to be super exciting. I'm not going to reveal it here, but be looking forward to it. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, and the thing about next month is we're living in it. And the topic is what we are actually doing, and it's going to be super great. So we look forward to seeing you guys again really soon.